Welcome back to another episode of the Charged Up Show. Today we had Kyle Maksimovich, a hockey player from Erie Otters who played with Connor McDavid. He was a great guest to have on. This episode is sponsored by Revolution Hockey. Revolution Hockey is located in Cambridge, Ontario. It is a great hockey school to improve your edge work and power training. Revolution Hockey provides weekly ice times as well as prepares you for your upcoming tryouts. Thanks and enjoy the podcast.
Please welcome current forward at UPI, Kyle Maksimovich.
How's it going, guys?
Thanks for coming on.
Good. So where are you right now? Like, where are you located, and how's COVID been for you so far?
So right now I'm at my mom's house in Oakville. Right now with COVID and everything, I'm kind of just waiting to head back to school, actually. I've waiting for it's called travel approval. So to get over the border, you got to have your where you've been the last 14 days for COVID testing. When you get there, you actually have to quarantine for 14 days. So that's something we had to get. We had to get our lease sent in, proof of enrollment, all that stuff. So just kind of waiting to head back to school and obviously get set up there again.
For sure. Have they given a call of like what's gonna be like? Like, is it gonna be online only, or do you kind of know what you're going into?
Yeah, so right now, it's online only, but I'm in a couple science classes, so I think like my chemistry class we have a lab for that. That's like my only in-person class right now.
Right, oh, okay.
That's kind of a bummer to go for one class.
Yeah, which is like, I mean, obviously doing a science lab at home, I don't know, I don't want to blow up the kitchen or whatever, so,
especially chemistry.
Have us go in for that. But yeah, other than that, I'll be honestly just waking up, going to the kitchen, and doing my classes.
Sure. So let's get into your minor hockey career a little bit. We won't stay in there too long, but could you give us a little nutshell experience?
Yeah. So I grew up in Hamilton playing hockey out there. I played, I think it was novice. I played for the Hamilton Bulldogs, and then I got scouted by the Toronto Marlboros to come play out in the GTHL. So I got the opportunity, and same with my older brother. My older brother got the chance to play for them too. So we both went out and we played. We played for the Marlies. I played there for all 8 years of minor hockey. So kind of stuck with the same program, and I really liked what they had, really liked what they taught, and obviously they're great for the fundamentals of hockey. So They kind of guided me through all my minor hockey success, and obviously got to play with some great players along the way.
Yeah, that was kind of the not glory days. The Marlies are still obviously really good, but nothing compared to they were in the 96, 97, 98 years. We looked at your team too, how I'm assuming you guys were one of the best teams every year.
Yeah. So I played with the 97s up until minor Bantam, and then I got the chance to play my own age. And I think when I dropped down, we had such a stacked team, or whatever you want to call it. We went 68-0 the one year.
Wow.
And we lost one game in like the finals, and then obviously we got to win cities and everything then. But yeah, it was pretty special being able to play with some of the guys like Taylor Radish, Mikey McLeod, Cliff Poo, just a couple names there. But yeah, it was pretty special.
So after that, can you just kind of run us through your kind of whole draft experience going to Erie, and obviously the Otters, like, great team after that. So what was that like?
It was pretty special. So my brother was actually already on the team in Erie. I talked to them a little bit throughout the draft year. You get to your agent sets up a phone call or whatever with the teams. They ask you how you are as a student and all that. And I had really good feedback and everything from Erie. So in the back of my mind, that's kind of where I wanted to go. I know my parents wanted me there to save them on some travel or whatever. They don't got to go to two different teams.
Right.
And then, on the draft day, you're sitting around your computer waiting for your name to pop up on that little screen or whatnot. And I was fortunate enough to be called by Erie. It was actually my sister who saw my name pop up first. So it was great little celebration. And I was honestly excited to head down to Erie and, get everything started.
That's awesome, yeah.
So how intimidating, the stuff we're all most excited to talk about, obviously, is how intimidating is it for you going in as a 16-year-old to a team with guys like McDavid, Strong, DeBrincat? I'm assuming it helped a lot that your brother was already there, but did you find that very intimidating?
Yeah, honestly, so the whole, to start the year, I honestly wasn't even supposed to be playing there. I'd signed with a Tier 2 Georgetown Raiders team, and that was supposed to be where I was going to end up. I was going to go down for camp, play an exhibition game or two, and then get sent home. But things kind of fell in my way. A guy ended up breaking his hand, so he was done for half the year. A guy quit the team, and then they traded away another guy, and next thing I know, I made the team. And honestly, I wasn't thinking about it a whole lot in the moment. I wasn't thinking about the nerves and everything. Once the regular season started, and I saw a couple of guys that I was with, it was pretty intimidating. But the support system for my parents, and I had a good friend in Taylor Radish on the team, and best friends with him since we were 8 years old. So that kind of helped with the transition and the process. But it was definitely nerve-wracking first heading there.
Yeah, that's crazy.
What was it like playing with McDavid and Strome? What was that whole experience? And I'm sure you get this question all the time, but would you be able to give us a little tidbit of what it was like?
Yeah, well, hey, I didn't play with them. Don't get that wrong. I wasn't on the line with them or anything like that. I was a 16-year-old doing my time, in and out of the lineup. But, watching those guys on a daily basis, it was crazy. In practice, it was evidently seeing how great McDavid was and how fast he was blowing by guys on the ice. So,
right.
To be able to watch it in real time and be on the ice when they're on the ice too, it's pretty cool. I know, one weekend, I think it was, McDavid had 4 or 5 goals against London, who was a top competitor against us that year. And then the next night he went out and put 6 points up against Guelph. So it was 11 points in 2 games. The guy was he's the real deal. And same goes with Strome too. Strome, I got to play with him for a little bit longer than Connor, and it was great to watch him. And I knew Dylan from minor hockey and everything, so it was pretty cool.
And then what about DeBrincat? Obviously, everyone in the OHL knew who McDavid was. Strome was another huge name too, but DeBrincat was an American kid who people didn't necessarily know about. So what was he like? He didn't really have the pressure on him. All of a sudden, he's getting 100 points.
Yeah, he kind of jumped right into it. I know coming into camp, we all just got drafted, and whatever, you got your cockiness as a little draft pick, and then he signed as a free agent, and we're like, oh, who's this guy? We had a rookie orientation camp, and he put up 3 goals in the rookie orientation camp. So we're like, okay, well, let's see what he can do in the regular season. And then obviously being the special player he is, he popped off, and he had 51 rips his first season. So it was pretty cool. He kind of just, he holds his ground as a smaller guy. I mean, I'm not much taller, but he can definitely hold his own, and he's a pretty special player.
You also had a pretty monster second year. Would you be able to talk a little bit about that year as well?
Yeah, so going to my draft year, I had a big off season, big training. I put on some weight. That was kind of the big thing, because I came into the OHL pretty small, so I put on the weight. I worked hard on the ice in the summer, and then for my draft year, I was just kind of going with the flow of things. I started off pretty hot, and I got some more opportunities on the power play and a little bit more ice on the top lines, and I just kind of ran with it and did my part for the team.
So
and then, go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, so I was just gonna say, so being on the team after when McDavid left, you obviously, the team was still stacked, and you went on winning championships and stuff. So how was that kind of run? Did you take kind of an initiative position, just climbing the ranks? What was that kind of? What did that mean to you?
So that year after McDavid left, we obviously made a run to the finals, and we lost. And coming back, we had a pretty young core of guys. So our coach talked to us at the end of the year, and he's saying, a lot of guys got to step up, and I think that's what we kind of did. A lot of the younger guys came together and took on bigger roles. I didn't play any power play my first year. I got opportunity, and I did fairly well. Guys who weren't playing any PK, they got the PK, and they got to step in and show what they're made of. So I think just making the most of the opportunity. And obviously, as you grow older in the OHL, you feel more comfortable. I think going to like my second, third year, I felt way more confident, way more comfortable taking on that bigger role, just because I knew what I was going to be up against. I knew how big the guys were going to be. I knew how fast the guys were going to be. It's just a matter of, creating those opportunities offensively and obviously doing my part on the D side of things where it's most important.
Yeah, absolutely.
You also had 4 games in the AHL, and that was right after your experience in the O, but what did you take away from the AHL, and how did that improve your game as a player?
I think the biggest thing I took away from that was, the speed and size of everything. You're not playing against, 16 and 20-year-old boys. You're playing against men, guys who are out there hunting for a job every day. And I think, my first game there, I was a little bit, shook, a little bit nervous, and I didn't know what to expect. I think taking away that speed, that pace, that everybody's always moving their feet and everybody's always looking to make a play with the puck. I think that was one of the biggest things I took away, and I tried to implement that coming back for my overage season, my last year. So
how did that must have added a lot of knowledge, I'd assume, going into your overager season, being able to teach, just having those 4 games of professional where most guys in the OHL don't have any. So then obviously, what was it like? I'm assuming it was a deadline deal over to Ottawa or close to, so Ottawa could stack up. What was it like when you found out you were going over Ottawa? Because you obviously knew they were going to be a really good team. I skate with Hoffenmeyer.
Oh, yeah.
So know him decently. And what was it like going to that really good team?
It was awesome. So I kind of had an idea what was something was going to be going down over the Christmas break. I'd been talked with my agent a little bit, and they'd kind of mentioned that they were interested. And I'm good friends with my GM in Erie, so he was letting me know what was going on and keeping me updated. And then obviously I found out I got traded there. A little mixed emotion, obviously sad being in Erie for 4.5 years, but getting a chance to go out a run at it with Ottawa, it was exciting. I never got to play in the bigger cities when I was in the OHL. Obviously, being in Erie, it's a smaller city, right. American community too, and it was exciting. Obviously, I had so much fun on the ice and off the ice in Ottawa, so I really enjoyed it.
What were the actual playoffs like? Just before we jump in, what were the actual playoffs like? Obviously, you guys had an unreal playoff run and then losing to the Storm. What was it like playing that Storm team? And we've had one guy he was a healthy scratch during the series, but he was able to give his perspective. And what was your perspective of that run in the finals?
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. Out on the East, we were buzzing. First round, we swept Hamilton. I was suspended for 2 games actually. I clipped the goalie when he came out to play the puck, so they suspended me. Didn't get to play in my hometown game in Hamilton, but and then we played Sudbury. I think that ended in a triple OT, but we ended up sweeping them too. And then we beat Oshawa in the conference finals, so we swept them. So heading in, we had full steam of confidence. We knew we were ready and everything, but that Guelph team, and they were like the comeback team of the year. They came back on, I think it was London, came back and beat them from a 3-0 deficit. Came back from SAG 3-1, and then we were up 2-0 on them. They ended up coming back and beating us. But they're a great team, and kudos to them. But the whole playoff atmosphere is it's a whole different scenario. You hear about it in the NHL. Playoffs is a different story. Playoffs is a different story, and it is. Obviously, it's not to the scale of that in the OHL, but it's pretty crazy just having a packed rink, especially in Guelph. Man, the fans there, they're pretty wild, and it was a great playoff run for us.
Now you previously played a little bit of pro. You played a few games, but what was the decision between playing pro and U Sports? Obviously, you had that little taste, but did that influence you to go the other way?
My family's always been about, getting my education and having that on my repertoire. And obviously I went to, I wanted to play pro. That was my main goal. I wanted to sign a contract, but the deal just wasn't there at the time. And, obviously going to University of Prince Edward Island, it was a great opportunity for me. I knew a couple of teammates who were there now, and they kind of recruited me in. And honestly, I've had such a great first year, and I'm going to go through my university and get my education. And hopefully, at the end of the day, if pro's still there, I would obviously love to continue playing.
Obviously, we were just talking to Tyler Ertl, who had some friends that are at UPI, like running in coaching, whatever. And obviously, you guys are hosting the Golf Canadas next year, right? And what's the kind of the feeling now? Obviously, it's super unknown. How have you dealt with that and dealing with the ending of the season and COVID?
Well, that's another big reason why I went there, is because they had the Nationals, and I can feel for the guys who went to Acadia and were recruited by Acadia for the Nationals, and they ended up getting cut short this year. So hopefully, if everything goes well and they can sort it out and figure out a plan for it, it's going to be an exciting time. I know PEI is very excited for it. We're playing in the Charlottetown Islanders, the QMJHL rink. So, I'm excited for it. Hopefully they can get the season rolling by January. That's my goal, but obviously they got to take the precautions and safety in hand for what's ahead.
We actually did have Garrett McFadden, who plays on Acadia, obviously, run us through how they were at the tournament when it got canceled. They were so close to playing.
Yeah, I heard about that. It was like two teams play. I think St. Mary's and Guelph or somebody played 2 games, and then the rest of the guys they just cut short. They had the women's nationals at our rink. We were at the rink watching. Owen Hedrick, his sister, is played for U of T, and they just played and they lost. They were eliminated, but literally like 2 hours later, whole tournament was canceled, and it was like,
Wow.
All these teams are stranded here in PEI. Got hotels booked for the rest of the week. They don't know what to do, so it's it was a bit of a gong show, but obviously they had to do a safe thing and shut it down.
Yeah, well, we I think that's all for today. But yeah, it was really cool to hear your perspective on a bunch of different stories, and it was cool to hear your career in itself. But I want to thank you and appreciate you coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks. We'll definitely be watching you. I'm sure everyone will keep track, and hopefully that the tournament's able to happen next year.
Yeah, I hope so. Keep my fingers crossed.
For sure.
But good luck with the podcast, guys. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.